So, O Romeo begins not with a love story, but with a list. A widow named Afsha walks into Usra's life carrying the names of men she wants wiped off the earth. And right on the top is Jalal, the man who orchestrates every threat and every drop of blood that follows. What starts as a revenge setup quickly becomes something far messier, hotter, and honestly, more reckless than anyone involved expected. Love, rage, desire, everything spills into everything else, sometimes literally. Set in 1995 Mumbai, the film opens on this delightfully crazy note. Shahid Kapoor is introduced as Usra with that signature touch only he understands. Stylish, violent, and almost musical. There's something weirdly theatrical about the way Usra slices through men while an old Hindi song plays in the background. And then Afsha walks in. And suddenly this man who behaves like he's carved out of blades just softens. He turns into this confused, raw lover boy, an accidental Romeo who now kills not just for duty, but out of the stubborn need to protect the woman who flipped his script. But here's where it gets tricky. Vishal Bhardwaj never tells stories straight. His films move like poetry. They hide meaning, they nudge you towards metaphors, and they make you work a little. And O Romeo wants to be all of that, a lyrical layered experience. The core plot is actually solid, but something in the execution does not land with the weight it should. For a story built on overwhelming, all-consuming love, I never fully felt the intensity between Usra and Afsha. Yes, he kills for her. Yes, he proclaims he is in love. But beyond the lyrics and the background score, the chemistry never erupts. I kept waiting for that moment, that charged, breathtaking scene, but it never happens. Eventually, sure, you sense there's something between them, but it takes too long to spark, and even then, it is faint. The non-linear narrative also gets in the way. Scenes stretch longer than they need to. The rhythm, that signature Bhardwaj rhythm, never quite sings. And as the film slows down, the flaws start shining brighter. You catch yourself nitpicking not out of habit, but because the screenplay gives you enough opportunities. Even the main villain in O Romeo, Jalal, played by Avinash Tiwary, never becomes this terrifying force he is introduced as. Avinash really tries, but the writing does not give him the weight he deserves. Jalal should feel like this death entering the room. Instead, he feels like threat on paper, but nothing in execution. The long fight sequences and world building end up drowning him out eventually. But let me be clear, O Romeo is not boring. It's not a film you check out of. It just constantly feels like a half-filled glass. If you know Vishal Bhardwaj's cinema, you can see his ambition, his poetry, his rhythm. But the emotional foundation underneath is not strong enough to support that style. What absolutely holds O Romeo together are the performances. Shahid Kapoor, back in Vishal's universe after Kamine, Haider and Rangoon, taps into that unhinged magnetic zone again. As Usra is wild, volatile and strangely tender. Triptii Dimri delivers one of her most layered performances, fragile and fiery at once, like she was in Laila Majnu, Kala and Bulbul, but more texture here. Nana Patekar makes the most out of his limited screen time, and Farida Jalal is brutal, foul-mouthed and honestly a delight. Music is the film's strongest pillar. The background score tells the story in places where the screenplay does not. Gulzar's writing, Arijit Singh's voice and Bhardwaj's compositions, they pull out emotions of scenes almost single-handedly. O Romeo and Hum To Tere Hi Liye Hai genuinely elevate moments that would have otherwise fallen flat. O Romeo feels like a film that had everything. The cast, the director, the mood, the music, but could not merge it into one immersive whole. It reaches for poetry but ends up landing as a thoughtful prose. Beautiful in parts, ambitious in intent, but not always effortless. Still, O Romeo is a film you won't completely forget, even if you don't completely fall for it.